First at 9 this Monday, the 14th of April 2025. New Year celebrations. Sri Lanka celebrates the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. President Anura Dissanayake assures government's commitment to develop the nation even amidst formidable challenges. Record revenue. Road Development Authority and Sri Lanka Transport Board announce record revenues during festive season. Going green. Government to introduce extended producer responsibility to combat plastic waste in Sri Lanka, says the Deputy Minister of Environment. Dollar inflows. Revenue from Sri Lanka's tourism sector totaled $354 million in March 2025, up from $338 million last year.
Chilo Dairy, Sri Lanka Kiren Perata. Obe Vishwasi Dino Sensorain, then Langamati Pharmacy in Labagata Hacker.
Kanta Parisan Karagato? Api Parisan.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening. Now as you join First at Night tonight, let me first bring to you these season's greetings on behalf of the Derana 24 team and wish you a very happy and prosperous Sinhala and Tamil New Year. Sri Lanka celebrated the dawn of the new year earlier this morning in accordance with Sinhala and Tamil rituals and customs. Extending his wishes to the public for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, President Anura Dissanayake reiterated government's commitment to developing the nation even amidst formidable challenges. The Sinhala and Tamil New Year dawned at 3:21 a.m. earlier this morning. At 4:01 a.m., all Sinhalese and Tamils lit their hearts and prepared the first meal of the new year, clad in copper-coloured attire facing the south. Subsequently, at 6:44 a.m., they commenced official duties of the new year, performed the first monetary transaction or Ganudanu Kirima, and consumed the new year's first meal. After observing such customs and traditions, Sri Lankan will prepare for the customary anointing of oil set to be carried out on the 16th of April at 9:04 a.m. Finally, those engaged in employment are expected to leave home at the auspicious time of 9:03 a.m. on the 17th of April. As Sri Lankans celebrate the New Year with much pomp and circumstance, President Anura Dissanayake issued his New Year message to the public. In his message, the head of state assured that the NPP government remains committed and determined to develop the country even amidst formidable challenges. He highlighted the symbolic importance of the New Year's traditions in promoting harmony between communities and coexistence with nature. The head of state also called upon all Sri Lankans to come together with renewed strength, unity and goodwill to support the nation's journey towards transformation. Meanwhile, the national ceremony to celebrate the Sinhala and Tamil New Year was held this morning in Pahalabomiriya Kaduwela under the patronage of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya.
The journey that the country has embarked on is a transformative one. This ceremony is an apt beginning for that journey. We have redefined the meaning of the word family and formed a new family comprising all Sri Lankans. I wish you all a very happy new year.
In his New Year's message, leader of the opposition Sajith Premadasa urged the nation to rise above divisions and step into the new year with unity, resilience and renewed spirit. Premadasa acknowledged the ongoing and emerging challenges facing the country and called on the public to face them together by setting aside narrow ideologies. Calling on all Sri Lankans both at home and abroad to commit to a future of shared success, he urged everyone to work toward a new year marked by happiness, unity and prosperity for all. Meanwhile, the Malwatu and Askeri chapters also extended blessings for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year.
ජනතාව අතර නොයෙක් විදිහේ ප්‍රශ්න තිබෙනවා ජීවත් වීමේ අපහසුතා ආරෝම මේවා. ඉතින් ඒ ඔක්කොම මැඩ පවත්වාගෙන කවුරුත් සමගියෙන් සමාදානෙන් සතුටින් මේ කාලේ ගත කරන්න ඕන කියන එක තමයි අපි විශේෂයෙන් අනුශාසනා කරන්නේ.
අපේ මිතුරුඩම් ඒවා වඩා වර්ධනය කරගෙන වැඩිහිටියන්ට ගෞරව සැලකිලි දක්වමින් තමයි අවුරුද්ද සතුටු විය යුත්තේ.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, also extended his wishes for the new year.
අපාතර සහෝදරත්වයක්, අපාතර එකමුතුකමත්, අපාතර යහපත් ගතිගුණත් විශේෂයෙන්ම අපගේ විවිධ ආගමික ශිෂ්ටාචාරයන්ගෙන් අපිට ලැබෙන සම්පතත් ප්‍රයෝජනයට ගනිමින් අපි එකිනෙකා සමග අත්වැල් බැඳගෙන මේ නව වසර තුල ජීවත් වෙන්නට අදිෂ්ඨාන කර ගනිමු.
පිරිපුන් ජීවිතයකට ඔබ සමගින් පෙරට යූනියන් ඇෂුරන්ස්. චන්දුරුසුමේ කාගෙන් මන අපේ සිංහ TV සඳහා සුපිරි ඩීල්.
The Derana Mugunapura Surya Mangalya, organised in view of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year by the Derana Media Network in partnership with Dialogue, is set to commence tomorrow morning in Mahiyanganaya. The event will feature a variety of New Year and folk games as well as musical performances in the evening. The Derana Mugunapura Surya Mangalya, organised by the Derana Media Network together with Dialogue, is scheduled to commence at 7 am tomorrow at the Mahiyanganaya Public Stadium. Preparations for the event, organised in view of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, are currently in progress. The Badulla District Secretariat, all government institutions in Mahiyanganaya, including the Mahiyanganaya Divisional Secretariat and the Mahiyanganaya Trade Association, have joined hands with the Derana Media Network to provide a wonderful experience for those joining the Mugunapura Surya Mangalya. The event will start off with a cycle race and a marathon. Competitors participating in the races are advised to register at the stadium by 6 am tomorrow morning. In addition to a variety of New Year and folk games, the Derana Dialogue Mugunapura Surya Mangalya will feature musical performances starting at 8 pm. The Road Development Authority announced that it has generated over 130 million rupees in revenue via expressway tolls on the 11th, 12th and 13th of April, marking an increase of 30% compared to the income generated during the festive season last year. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Transport Board has also generated 600 million rupees in income during this festive season. As many people began to commute across the island prior to the dawn of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, a surge was noted in the revenue generated by the Road Development Authority through expressway tolls over the last 3 days. The Deputy Director General of the RDA's Expressway Operation, Maintenance and Management Division (RAD) Kahatapitiya stated that a staggering 134,498,800 rupees in revenue were generated on the 11th, 12th and 13th of April, with a total of 387,586 vehicles using the expressways. 163,541 vehicles had used the expressways on April 11th, generating an income of 54,666,450 rupees. Similarly, 134,195 vehicles used the expressways on April 12th, bringing in an income of 47,712,350 rupees. Meanwhile, 89,850 vehicles used the expressways on April 13th, generating an income of 32,120,000 rupees. In the meantime, Deputy General Manager of Operations of the Sri Lanka Transport Board, THRT Chandrasiddhi, stated that the Transport Board has generated a record revenue of 600 million rupees on the 10th, 11th and 12th of April due to the festive season.
Fast track your career from O-levels with eSoft.
ඩයිබටසෝල් සීනිවලින් පරිස්සම්වන ඔබට අමතක නොවන පෝෂණය.
කැලණි වයර් කිසිගින්නක් නෑ.
කිසිගින්නක් නෑ. කැලණි ෆයර් ෂීල්ඩ් වයර්.
Much like in previous years, the arrival of the new year has brought with it a familiar surge in injuries across the country, particularly due to road accidents and firework-related incidents. Against this backdrop, health professionals urged the public to be vigilant, especially about children, to prevent accidents during the festive season. The National Hospital Colombo stated that nearly 80 individuals had been admitted to the hospital during the last 24 hours. Hospital officials further stated that around 30 of the patients were injured in road accidents and that one individual was hospitalized following injuries sustained in a firework-related incident. Meanwhile, one individual passed away while 20 others, including young children, were injured in a road accident in the Agbopur area on the Kantale-Trincomalee main road when a bus carrying a group of local tourists collided with a cab and a lorry. The driver of the bus, a resident of Marvanella, succumbed to his injuries. The wounded have been admitted to the Kantale Base Hospital for treatment. Additionally, a total of 5 fatalities, including the death of a toddler, were reported due to separate road accidents in various parts of the island. Against this backdrop, health professionals are urging the public to be vigilant, especially about children, to prevent accidents during the festive season.
After New Year celebrations, the number of children admitted to hospitals due to road accidents is continuously increasing. Furthermore, we see an increase in the number of accidents caused by firework activities each year. Intoxicated drivers are causing the mortality rate from the road accidents to rise even more than that of dengue. So we request that the public be cautious in order to minimize these accidents.
In the wake of the backlash against the request for owners of rooftop solar power generation systems to voluntarily switch off their systems during daytime hours, the Ceylon Electricity Board issued a clarification regarding the necessity to temporarily curtail solar power generation in view of the reduced demand during the holiday season. The state power supply said that as solar power generation systems do not supply inertia to the grid, excessive solar output could cause grid instability, leading to partial or total blackouts. The Ceylon Electricity Board yesterday requested all rooftop solar power generation system owners across the country to voluntarily switch off their systems during daytime hours until 3 p.m. from the 13th to the 21st of April. The state power supplier claimed that electricity demand had plummeted to historic lows owing to the extended holiday period and sunny weather, and that therefore the high contribution from variable renewable energy sources was placing a significant stress on the national grid, necessitating the curtailing of rooftop solar power generation systems to maintain the stability and reliability of the national grid. However, the CEB's request drew criticism from renewable energy producers and consumers associations.
We suspect that this is a conspiracy by the CEB chairman and others who are opposed to renewable energy. We intend to file a complaint in this regard with the CID right after the new year. The government and the CEB chairman have interest in thermal power plants. By discouraging renewable power generation, they intend to purchase power from thermal power plants at exorbitant prices.
Against this backdrop, the CEB later issued a clarification regarding the necessity to curtail rooftop solar power generation systems. The state power supplier claimed that in view of the very low demand during the holiday season, it shuts down large thermal power plants such as hydro, coal and all other thermal plants. The CEB added that the larger power plants provide a critical service to the grid called inertia, which helps keep the electricity frequency stable. Inertia is primarily provided by the spinning mass of large generators and helps the grid resist sudden changes in power. Without adequate inertia, even a small glitch can cause voltage or frequency problems, leading to partial or total blackouts. The CEB highlighted that unlike large power plants, it cannot control the production from rooftop solar power generation systems unless customers shut them down, and that they do not provide inertia to the grid. Highlighting supply and demand figures, the Electricity Board claimed that if it hadn't managed electricity supply on Saturday, the 12th of April, inertia support for the national grid would have plummeted to a dangerously low 34%, but that by curtailing renewable power generation systems, it was able to maintain inertia support at 56%, a level sufficient, though not ideal, to prevent a sudden grid collapse. As the CEB Control Center cannot control rooftop solar power generation systems when demand is low and solar output is high, conventional power plants are forced offline. Accordingly, the state power supply said that until battery energy storage systems, water batteries and grid-forming inverters are widely deployed, Sri Lanka's grid must rely on large power plants to supply inertia and ensure stability, thus necessitating the temporary curtailment of rooftop solar power generation systems. Accordingly, the CEB reiterated its appeal for rooftop solar power generation system owners to voluntarily switch off their systems each day from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Deputy Minister of Environment Anton Jaikoni stated that as part of the effort to combat the growing concern of plastic waste both in Sri Lanka and across South Asia, the government plans to introduce environmental policies such as extended producer responsibility to hold producers accountable for the products they manufacture. He made these remarks during a high-level roundtable discussion on plastic waste management in South Asia held recently in Colombo. The South Asian Regional Roundtable on Plastic Waste Management was held recently in Colombo. The roundtable was held as part of the Plastic-Free Rivers and Seas for South Asia project implemented by the South Asia Cooperative Environment Programme in partnership with the United Nations Office for Project Services and funded by the World Bank. This event brought together participants from Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka to explore policy, technical and market solutions to the problems of plastic waste management in South Asia.
South Asia is a region of immense beauty, home to diverse ecosystems, rich cultural heritage and dynamic economies. However, alongside this vibrancy lies a growing concern, plastic pollution, which threatens our rivers, seas and livelihood. Today our region is one of the largest contributors to plastic waste, and projections indicate that this challenge will only intensify if we do not take decisive action. The increasing volume of plastic waste poses grave threats to marine life, human health and our economic well-being. It is clear that we must act collectively to address this issue before it reaches irreversible levels. This initiative is not merely about identifying problems, but about forging innovative and practical solutions that foster a circular plastic economy. By promoting sustainable alternatives, enhancing waste management systems and encouraging investments, we aim to reduce the environmental and economic impact of plastic pollution in South Asia.
We see plastic now from the top of Mount Everest to the bottom of the ocean floor, and it's in every part of our society, and now it's even in us as well, creating a long-term problem that we cannot solve individually. But so much of that solution is right here in this room. That the combination of government, civil society, private sector, our friends in academia, general public, this gives us hope and an opportunity to change this.
Every year, over 430 million metric tons of plastic are produced globally, with 2/3 consisting of short-lived products that quickly turn into the waste. An estimated 10 million metric tons of plastic enter our ocean annually, adding the 200 million metric tons already polluting our marine ecosystems. According to the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, our region is one of the most vulnerable to climate change. This means we must act fast and work together to protect our environment. In this respect, Sri Lanka has already taken steps to address these challenges. We have a national policy on management of waste. Our national policy on chemical management helps to regulate the safe use of chemicals. We also launched the National Action Plan on Plastic Waste Management to drive plastic waste solution across the country.
Plastic, including microplastic, are now universal in our natural environment, crossing borders and impacting how many regards nationality. We have introduced bans and restrictions on ocean plastic items while fostering research and innovation for eco-friendly materials. In addition, we engage in improving waste collection and recycling manufacturers, strengthening public-private partnership and engaging communities' sustainable waste management practices. Furthermore, our expectation is to implement extended producer responsibility, that means EPR, as well key policy tools ensure that manufacturer takes responsibility for life management of their plastic products. We firmly believe that regional approach built on knowledge sharing, capacity building, across border collaboration is essential, sustainable and impactful solution.
Welcome back. You're once again joining First at 9 on Other Derana 24. Now in your business news tonight, revenue from Sri Lanka's tourism sector totaled $354 million in March 2025, up from $338.4 million last year. However, this amount is lower than the $367.6 million earned during the month of February this year. During the first 3 months of the year, the tourism sector generated $1.12 billion, marking a 3.4% increase from the $1 billion earned during the same period last year. Sri Lanka also welcomed 722,276 tourists between January and March 2025, moving closer to 1 million tourist arrivals out of the 3 million targeted for the year. Now, the central bank in its macroeconomic outlook says Sri Lanka's merchandise trade deficit is projected to widen further in 2025. This is mainly due to increased import demand, reflecting the relaxation of import restrictions alongside improved economic activity and higher spending capacity of businesses and households amidst easing of monetary conditions. According to the central bank report, the immediate demand for vehicle imports remained softer than expected, though a gradual pickup in demand cannot be ruled out. Despite global crude oil prices forecasted to remain lower in 2025, a slightly higher petroleum import expenditure is estimated for the year due to the increase in volumes that could result from the expected recovery in domestic economic activities. The report said it could account for possible adverse price fluctuations due to geopolitical tensions. Similarly, expenditure on other intermediate goods and investment goods is expected to increase in 2025. The services account surplus is anticipated to strengthen further in 2025, driven by rising tourism earnings and improved competitiveness in other services exports. The deficit in the primary income account is likely to narrow in 2025 due to reduced interest payments following the external debt restructuring. However, outflows from the primary income account are expected to increase gradually due to continued interest and dividend outflows from direct investment enterprises that have invested in Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, workers' remittances are expected to increase steadily in 2025. Overall, the current account is expected to record a surplus in 2025, contingent on the magnitude of the impact of relaxed vehicle import restrictions. Nevertheless, the current account is likely to record sustainable deficits in the medium term. The United States today announced that electronic products will now be subject to a new set of duties separate from the reciprocal tariffs. This comes despite President Trump yesterday granting exclusions from steep reciprocal tariffs for electronic products including smartphones, computers and semiconductors. The Donald Trump administration in the US yesterday granted exclusions from steep reciprocal tariffs for electronic products including smartphones and computers and other electronics in a move seen as a big break for technology firms such as Apple and Dell that rely on imports from China. Global stocks surged in early trading today following the White House announcement. However, US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said today that smartphones, computers, semiconductors and some other electronics would face a new set of duties separate from the reciprocal tariffs.
Remember, those products are going to be part of the semiconductor sectoral tariffs, which are coming. The president's going to do it for pharmaceuticals, and he's going to do it for semiconductors. So all those products are going to come under semiconductors, and they're going to have a special focus type of tariff to make sure that those products get reshored. We need to have semiconductors, we need to have chips, and we need to have flat panels. We need to have these things made in America.
Tit-for-tat trade salvos between the US and China have seen Washington raise import taxes on Chinese goods to 145% and Beijing retaliate with a 125% duty on US imports. And that's all for tonight on First at 9. Thank you for joining. Have a good night and a Happy New Year.